Hi again, folks. It's Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair, and today we're demonstrating a completed FM conversion on a radio out of a 1949 Lincoln. This is sent in by Bruce in Florence, Arizona. Hey, that's he lives in the same state I do. He can come over here and beat me up, so I figured I better get his radio done. Alrighty, now these older radios, they're a little bit unusual. This one does not have a tone control. It has a tone switch, and the FMR conversion uses the tone control to adjust the left-right balance and the front-rear speaker fader. This is obviously no longer a single speaker radio. It can now power up to 4 speakers. So the way to adjust the balance and fader functions is the same as it would be on any other conversion, except that the tone control, to be able to, you have to actually use the volume control as the tone control to adjust your balance and fader functions. And since this radio doesn't have a rotary tone control, I wired the tone switch to where with this tone switch all the way clockwise, the volume control temporarily becomes a tone control, so you can make your adjustments. I know it sounds very confusing. All it takes is a little bit of practice, and I'm going to show you how to do all that stuff in this video. And let's go ahead and turn the radio up. I've got it set to AM at the moment, and I've got it on the wrong setting. I currently have the tone switch on the tone setting, which means the volume control is not going to work until I put this back to the leftmost position.
Volume hold. I hope she starts stirring to let us know she's okay. But she's done that every spring for 17 years. Wow. I'm still happy about that. But
there we
every
go.
Animal, every species has their own little idiosyncrasies, don't they?
Okay, once again, that's my brother. Now I'm going to switch it over to tone setting for a moment, just so I can turn the tone control all the way up. Okay, now we're back at the volume setting.
And the first thing she says is, "Good morning." If that doesn't get your day off to a good start.
Now, one thing about when you adjust after you finish, let's go back to our virtual tone control here. After you finish adjusting your volume and balance and stuff, you're going to want to turn that tone control back up all the way, because that's usually where it sounds the best. Now, to have the tone control up all the way, then to switch it back to the volume setting, that means your volume control is now up all the way. Well, the radio protects you from that, and I'm going to show you just how it does that. First, I'm going to
7680 Coyote Springs
Okay,
Road,
we've got our volume at a
and that's just right off
moderate
of
setting.
89A there
Now we're
in
going
Prescott
to use the
Valley.
tone control.
Very good. And that is Stacy
I'm going to turn the tone control all the way up.
Ranch, Animal Rescue and Sanctuary. Have a happy
So
Halloween.
you can hear the difference
Have
as
a
I
great
turn the tone
fundraiser.
control.
Oh, thank you,
Okay, I'm going to
DJ.
turn the tone
Stay
control
tuned.
all the
We got
way up.
Bobby Anderson
And
coming
now I'm
in
going to
from
switch it
St.
back
Louis.
to the
We're gonna
volume
talk
position,
about
and the lady will say
indigenous
volume
peoples,
hold.
legal rights,
Now, what that
things like
means
that,
is that
because he has
it's
a
not
very
letting
good
the volume
guest
go all the
speaker
way
to
up
talk about. That's
until you've
coming up
had
on
some
today's
time
Q&A on the Talk
adjust
of
the
the
control.
Quad Cities.
So we're going to turn this control
11:30
back to the
a.m.,
volume setting.
99.5
Volume hold.
Okay, volume hold.
FM
And you can see
Prescott Valley and Cottonwood.
it's staying at the same volume it was at.
Q&A.
So we're going to turn the volume all the way down, and then we're going to turn it up.
At Nationwide Vision.
And now we're capable of the full volume. It does take a little practice. So anyway, let's go ahead and switch to FM. First, we'll make sure that we get the 2 or 3 AM stations in this area. There's one of them. Oops.
Keeps getting center on the Verde Valley campus
There's number
on
2.
Thursday.
Back will continue.
And number
Attorney
3.
Lynn Wood.
Okay, so now we'll switch to
Memory
FM. To do that, we just turn the unit off and then right back on within about half a second. So here we go. Off. Whoops.
The media then, I learned
This is how you turn this radio on and off. Okay, off, on. And now we're on the FM band. So let's just run this dial down the FM band. Make sure we pick up a good 25, 30 FM stations. Whoop. I got a different antenna that I use for FM. There we go.
'70s low, '80s mid '70s Prescott Quad City.
On gift card, $1,000.
Interesting, of course, that Mitzrayim is a name for Egypt. You and I think of it as Egypt.
Landfinder at Medicare.gov to
Looking at you at the
Local jobs, local tax.
2626. volume 1130 minutes.
Raj.
And get dark money out of play.
There's 20.
Your brain gets smart, but your head.
No, keep it simple.
Sometimes you got to roll the dice and say, okay.
By tuition coverage.
Okay, that's about 30.
Forest to the secret pumpkin.
Can't take it slow, cause time sure won't.
Okay, so I picked up a 33 FM stations, all coming in pretty decently. Okay, so we're going to test the aux input real quick, just to make sure it works. When we feed an aux signal into the jacks, the radio will automatically switch over. So let's go ahead and try that. Feed the aux through one channel and the other channel. Okay, we see our aux input works. I just used a quick test tone for that. Now the radio is going to hold on to that aux input for 20 seconds, even though there's nothing there right now. And that's just to make sure that it's not constantly switching back and forth between the radio and aux input during quiet music passages and between songs. It's just a thing to keep you from getting too irritated. Now, during this delay, you're going to be really tempted to turn the radio up and listen for some kind of a noise that's working. Just be patient, because when it finally comes back on, if you've got the volume all the way up, it's going to blast you out. Okay, so we've tested the line inputs, so let's go back over this virtual tone and balance controls a little bit better this time. We'll leave it on the station. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to adjust the front rear fader. We're going to need the output level meters for this. And I see I've got a little glare problem. Sunlight is, there we go. A quick temporary fix there. Okay, now in order to adjust our left-right volume or the front rear speaker balance or the tone, you have to turn the outermost shaft fully clockwise. And now the volume control is acting as a tone control. So since it is now a tone control, let's activate our front rear speaker fader. That's going to be activated by turning your tone control twice to the right. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we've got room to rotate it to the right. So we're going to back it off to about a half position. We're going to turn it twice to the right, and the lady should come on saying fader adjust. So here we go.
Fader adjust.
Okay, fader adjust. And now this same knob is adjusting the front rear fade all the way front, all the way rear, all the way front, all the way rear. Okay, now I'm going to center the speakers, and then I'll stop adjusting it.
Fader set.
And after 2 seconds, the lady will come back on saying fader set. That means that setting has been saved, and you can now return your control, your tone control, all the way up. This is where it sounds best. But before we do that, let's go ahead and adjust our left-right balance. Same procedure, except we turn this control twice to the left. So here we go.
Balance adjust.
Balance adjust. Okay, and now the same knob is adjusting the left-right balance. All the way left, all the way right, left, right. And now we're centered. I'm going to take my hand off the controls.
Let's get back to the count.
Balance set.
Balance set. Okay, I'm going to turn my tone control back all the way up.
Undercover angel.
Then we're going to switch the outermost shaft back to the volume control position, which is all the way counterclockwise to the left.
Volume hold.
Okay, volume hold. That means your volume control's all the way up right now. Better adjust it, or I'm going to turn it up. So let's go ahead and turn this volume down, and then turn it back up.
KKLD The Cloud, 95.9.
And now we're capable of full volume again. All right, so understandably, it may take some practice to get familiar with this particular type of radio that has a tone switch instead of a rotary tone control. But as you've seen, as long as you do it the right way, follow the procedure, it'll work every time. So let's go ahead and let's try the station presets. I'm going to try presetting this station to the rightmost push button. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen this button, turning it counterclockwise to loosen it. Then we tune our radio to where we want that station to be set. We push this button in, then we tighten it. And it should return to that station. And there we go. And these work differently than the newer styles. Let's go back over the preset one more time. Let's preset Let's preset this station to this first button. I'm going to loosen the button, press it in, tighten it, and now that station is preset to that button. So it's these older radios are a little bit more hassle to figure out and operate, but they work great and they sound great. And if you guys are wondering why this unit is kind of dirty, along the bottom of here, there was a note with the unit stating, we're not sure how it's going to respond to liquid cleaners, so be careful. Well, one thing I don't want to do is send the unit back with a spot that's been rubbed out from a liquid cleaner that I use. I don't want to be responsible or liable for any of this stuff because cosmetic work is done as a courtesy, but I don't charge for it, and I'm not responsible for it, basically, is that it. So I think it's better to go ahead and send it back, maybe just brush this dirt off, but not try to actually do any wiping or anything. That way, when they get the radio back, they can't say, well, most of the stuff is gone because he wiped it all off. Somebody's got to pay for this. That doesn't happen in my shop. Let's go back to me. Here I am. I'm Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair, and you've just seen what I can do to an old classic car AM radio. And I also do FM conversions, Bluetooth, USB reader, aux input. On some radios, I can even double the number of FM station presets. Those are mainly the Delco radios. And thank you so much for watching and listening. My website's in the description below, and we'll see you next time.